Welcome to Chronic Health Collective, where we empower you to transform every area of your life. We've gathered the best coaches and experts in the world to bring you weekly insights so that you can elevate your physical, mental, and spiritual well being. Whether you're looking to boost your energy, heal your relationships, or live a more productive, balanced life, we're here to guide you every step of the way. My name is Minna, and in this episode of Chronic Health Collective, we have none other than my own co-host, Andy Nam. So Andy, he is a certified life coach specializing in functional nutrition and longevity. He's a best-selling author, international speaker, and he's passionate about helping people reverse chronic health conditions and optimize their vitality. Now, after surviving a life-altering accident in his teens that led to decades of chronic pain, Andy took his health into his own hands through biohacking, functional nutrition, and cutting edge stem cell activation technology. He healed his body and unlocked the secrets to thrive as he aged. Now, as a co founder of Chronic Health Collective with me, Andy has made his mission to inspire others to reduce inflammation, repair the bodies, and live longer, healthier, and more fulfilling lives. So let me bring him on.
Hey,
Hey,
hey.
Rob.
We get to do a show together. I love it.
So, let's talk about you have a little bit of an ordeal last week.
I'm glad my family's not here, calling it an ordeal. But yeah, for some of you out there, you may know that my family all is riddled with chronic conditions, and especially my oldest brother, my dear brother that I love so much. He suffered diabetes, type 2 diabetes for over 20 years now. And last Saturday, he calls me in the morning. He says, I'm going to the hospital. I'm getting my kidney transplant. You need to fly out tomorrow.
Yeah, that was a last minute thing. So what happened?
Well, like I said, it's one of the situations. I had to fly up because my brother doesn't speak English. He doesn't know what's going on. And my other family up in Vancouver, they speak English, but their Chinese wasn't so well. So I was essentially there, not only to cheerlead them on, but to help with the language barriers.
And you also there to babysit your mother.
Yes, I was there to babysit my mother. I'm so glad she can't understand English because she would hate us talking about her like that. But no, it's totally true. This was the first time she literally was all alone in her house and, not going into the spooky things about my house. But, I'll throw it out there. My house is haunted and my mom's afraid of the dark. So, of course, she didn't want to be alone. So, yeah, I was out there taking care of my mom and, babysitting her and doing, things to help the family out.
Well, so in the spirit of giving and receiving, what do you feel like? Is it like are you giving something to your family?
Yeah, I think when it comes to, the spirit of giving and receiving, it's definitely a gift of my time, a gift of my love, a gift of my respect for my mom and of course my brother. And it's just sort of interesting because to them, when they call, they expected it. To them, it was a duty to come up. But for me, it was sort of like, well, it was more of my choice to come up if I decide to. And I think it just comes down to like, love. I didn't have any expectations. I just knew I had to get up there. And I just want people to know that giving shouldn't be just freely given. It should be a choice, right?
Well, it should be up to you what you want to give, but family is always tough. And it's just one of those things that you don't always you can't teach your old dog new tricks, right? So you
Correct.
can't make your family do something, expect something that you can't give them.
Exactly. And it was a tough situation because, the operation went well, but it literally took many days before we start seeing results. So there's a lot of ups and downs, a lot of emotions going on. And, like my brother being in the hospital, he didn't understand any English. So he's being poked and prodded, and he didn't understand why. And it was just a scary situation for him. But, it was a scary situation for us too, because I visit him in the morning, but then he's calling me every like 2 hours after that, to try to translate what's going on. The nurses, it's one of those situations. It's like you really have to take care of yourself. You never want to be in that type of situation when your life depends on an organ transplant, right?
Yeah, I mean, we talk about health a lot on the show, and one of the thing is you health is something you have to do yourself.
Yes.
And we talked about your brother before, and he says, if you want him to go on a stricter diet to cut off food that he loves, he'd rather die. But obviously that attitude has changed.
That has changed drastically, and it's funny that you bring that up, because that was literally just 5 years ago, like, a couple years before pandemic. And it was funny because we were having breakfast, having dim sum in Vancouver, and he saw one of his friends, and his friends lost weight. He used to be diabetic, and he said he's off diabetes. He's no longer diabetic because he changed into being a vegetarian. And exactly, it's like, I turned to my brother as, hey, you can be vegetarian too. Like, I was saying it half jokingly, but he says, well, I'd rather just die if you just want me to eat vegetables. And it's the mindset now is right after the surgery. I'm telling him, I'm going through his stuff at home, and I'm saying, look, we're gonna throw this out, we're gonna throw this out, we're gonna throw this out. And like my mom said, well, that's still good. I said, no, that's just not good. And when I told Sam I was doing that, and he said, I can't eat that, I can eat this. I said, no, you can't. He's okay. It was never that situation before, right? He always fought me for it, but now he's saying, okay, whatever it takes, because it's I guess it's there's a saying that, like, I guess until you get the crap scared out of you, you're not going to change your stripes, right? You're talking like a tiger changing his stripes and stuff like that.
So I guess there's a word of precaution to our viewers. Do you want to explain to the viewers how he got to this point where he needs a transplant?
Yeah, it's a situation, like I said, he's been diabetic for many years. And when in his 40s, the doctors, hey, don't worry about it. Type 2 diabetes, it's manageable with medication and exercise. And of course, he just went for the medication. He didn't exercise. Like, he was working long hours, don't get me wrong, but he didn't exercise, right? And over the years, his blood pressure got up, and everything just started breaking down. He just got more and more medication. And, it is so sad because, our health, it's a gift that's given to us when we're born, right? It's like a lot of people think, oh, it sort of sucks when you develop chronic conditions, type 2 diabetes, but these things don't happen overnight, right? And when you are pre-diabetic or being close to type 2 diabetic, it's like, if you already know that you're going to have that issue, you should be making changes to make sure it doesn't get worse rather than relying on medication.
Yeah, and diabetes is actually one of the easier ones to detect, right? As opposed to something like heart disease, where you don't actually there's no
Exactly.
time, right? Diabetes is something you can test daily to know what you're most sensitive to in terms
Yeah.
of the sugar intake. So why don't you talk to the viewers about um, diabetes? What are some of the like a really bad outcomes that could come from long-term diabetes?
Well, long-term diabetes, the more horror stories, you can go blind, right? So it's funny because, like, if you're ophthalmologist, like an eye doctor, not an optometrist, they can actually tell that you're going to become diabetic by just looking at your eyes,
Hmm.
right? Because there's, that high blood pressure in your eyes, would be signs of being diabetic. But like, you can lose your kidneys. Like I said, his kidney functions were bad. But more so is you can actually start losing your limbs. You can start losing your feet, your legs. it's not a good way to go. And and it is so easy to reverse. I cannot say heal, right? We're not doctors, and I keep saying that, but in this time and age, it's crazy what we can say and what we can't say. And it's funny because doctors will say type 2 diabetes is a chronic disease that once you got, you're riddled for the rest of your life, that you are going to get kidney. These are things that's going to happen at some point, right? And you know when you're taking the medication like my brother did for 20 years, he was thinking, well, look, everything's being managed, right? Even though medication is going up and down, because he never thought that he's going to need a kidney transplant, right? Thank God he didn't lose his eyes, he didn't go blind, he didn't lose a limb. He came close. His feet got so swollen like elephant trunks, he probably came close to losing his limbs. But I think a lot of people, when it comes to chronic conditions, and that's why I'm so passionate about it, is a lot of it is reversible. Like when your body is supported properly, it's reversible. And just talking to you, we have another family member that told me they're type 2 diabetic. I'm not going to say who, but it's a family member, right, close to us. And it's interesting because they get them to measure the blood sugar, they're giving them medication, but they're not telling them how to use the tool to measure his blood sugar to reverse his diabetes, right? So like I was just talking to him, and he's like, what do you mean? The doctor never said anything about that. And I was like, because they either don't know or they don't want you off the medication. Like, I don't want to be cynical, but that's the truth.
So let's go there. How do you, so when you're dealing with clients, how do you, what is, I guess, what is the right way to use the tools that you can use for diabetes so that you can actually potentially take care of it?
Yeah, I'm just gonna throw it out there. Um, uh, Sugar is basically the worst thing that can go in your body. It causes diabetes. It causes cancer. It basically causes every form of chronic disease and disease, condition that your body can have. And really, one of the easiest ways to reverse a lot of these conditions is going on a ketogenic diet, right? And I'm not going to talk about what a ketogenic diet is. A lot of people understand that. And but essentially what we want to do is we want to shift your body's ability to solely burn sugar to be able to burn fat. And once your sugar levels come down, guess what? Your diabetes is automatically going to reverse, right? And your body is designed to burn fat. So to answer your question, here they are. They have this little meter, and every diabetic or pre-diabetic will know what I'm talking about. You prick your finger, you measure your blood, and there you go. You confirm you're diabetic. That's basically what the doctor is telling you. Well, look, your number is high. You're diabetic, right? But well, what does that number mean? Like, how can you use that number to figure out what foods to eat to, like you said, to maybe slow down diabetes, right? And what you want to do, if you have one of these glucose measuring tools that measures your blood glucose, what you want to do, if you want to see which foods that your body can or cannot eat, because remember, we're all about individuals. What I can eat, maybe you can eat. What you can eat, maybe I can eat. So what you want to do is you want to measure your blood sugar, whatever it is. Maybe it's like, you measure before you eat, it's like 120, 130, whatever that number. It doesn't really matter. And then you eat what you're going to eat. You eat your meal, you eat your hamburger, you eat your salad, whatever it is. And then you test your blood sugar again half an hour after that meal. And it's crucial that you test it half an hour because you want to see how much your blood sugar spiked with the food you just ate, right? And by doing that, you can tell if your body can actually assimilate that sugar from that food or not. And this is where that individuality comes into, because some people can eat rice. I can't eat rice, but some people can. So if you look at that number, just say your initial number is 130 and you eat this meal, you ate a bowl of fried rice. and it shoots to 180. That tells me that fried rice is probably one of the foods that you're not going to eat every day. Once in a while, right? Like for me, I love fried rice. Maybe I eat it once a week or whatever. What you're looking for is you want to eat food groups that does not spike your sugar more than 30 points. So if you start at 130, half an hour later, whatever you eat, it should not spike past 160.
Yeah, and me and you actually, we did that exercise already. Because I think it was like 8-9 years ago that doctor told me that I'm pre-diabetic.
Yeah,
And that's we start doing all measuring our glucose, and we start trying to figure out what food triggers it, what should what foods doesn't, right? And we're pretty analytical, so every food is different. We react differently between me and you, even though we're both
yes,
Asians. We both ate the same thing, right? And how long it takes your blood sugar to come back down, that's also a factor. And
exactly.
how fast it goes up, how long it takes to go back down, that's also a factor. And that's actually why we started to do intermittent fasting.
Correct. Exactly. Exactly. One of the things, excuse me, caught a bug in Vancouver. One of the things that, I really want people to understand is our health is our gift. Our health is our responsibility. Doctors and nurses, they are there as our guides. They are there to guide you on your health journey. They're not there to save you. They're not there to sustain you. That's not their role. Their role is just to support you. And once you start understanding that we're in charge of our health, not them, everything will change for you.
So on that note, let's take a break and we'll come right back.
Is like a lightning rod. It's energy that's coming in, tremendous energy that's coming in. It's up to every single one of us of what we're going to do with that energy.
An empowered life has no expiration date. We're all created to do incredible things, like conquer summits, catch big waves, and live our passions. As time goes on, our bodies begin to show signs that things just aren't as they used to be. Our energy levels decline, sleep patterns shift, and recovery slows. But our bodies are masterpieces of design, holding the potential to bounce back better than ever. With X39, we achieved something remarkable in the field of wellness and regenerative science that others could not. By utilizing LifeWave's unique patented technology, X39 uses light to elevate GHKCU, a copper peptide known to support overall health and wellness. Unlike traditional light therapy, which requires external light sources, X39 uses the body's own infrared light to naturally increase vitality, enhancing the body's flow of natural energy. For improvements in strength, stamina, performance, and overall health and well-being, with the simplicity of an affordable, non-invasive, non-transdermal patch. As we age, levels of these life-enhancing elements, which are associated with wellness and longevity, begin to decline. LifeWave invested 10 years into stem cell research, which resulted in over 70 patents, X39 was born to bring to the public a product that could support wellness in an entirely new way, supporting the production of younger, healthier cells with wearable light technology. Becoming a powerhouse is easier than you think. Harness your body's natural potential to maintain youthful energy and vitality, because life comes at you fast, but it doesn't have to pass you by. Live long, live well, live young. Be the light with LifeWave X39. LifeWave.
Welcome back to Chronic Health Collective. So before the break, we were talking about taking health into our own hands. So Annie, why don't you tell us about how do you take it into your own hands, and how health is not really just about you, but it's also about your family?
Yeah, this is interesting because growing up, you are always taken care of, right? It's like you skin your knee, your mom will, your mom or dad will say, oh, like your mom will kiss your boo boo, your dad will tell to toughen up. But regardless, there's someone there to take care of you, right? You go into school, you fall down, teachers will watch you, you got coaches and everything. So throughout your life, it's, I think we're all groomed that we're being taken care of. Like, I don't think any of us have figured out that we should be taking care of ourselves, right? We got this false sense of belief that if anything happens, someone's going to take care of us. And most of the time it's for finances. But I think that really extends towards our health also.
So why don't you tell the audience about your own personal journey? Let's start with when you were a teenager.
Yeah. So for my family, there was a lot of giving. Don't get me wrong. My mom was a housewife, which probably doesn't exist anymore because everyone has to have two working people in the family. But my mom was a housewife all her life, so she cooked, she cleaned, she supported the family, right? So in her mind, she was giving, right? But you know, in retrospect, afterthought, now that I'm older, right? She thinks that she was giving, but she thought she was giving because that was her duty, not because she wanted to. It's because she had to. And same thing is like my dad was going to work, he'll go to work, he'll make money, come home, expect a meal, and expect to just put his feet up and watch TV. So same thing, he thought he was giving. But what people don't understand is, growing up, I was seeing that this giving, but it was what they were expecting. They weren't receiving. Like people were, my family just wasn't receiving. They was, wow, I feel so grateful that my mom takes care of me, but for the hot meals, cleaning, my clothes, and same thing. Not just me. I'm talking about a whole family. So they're like, we're all groomed like this. And same thing for my dad. Is like he's paying all this, but me and my brother, we weren't grateful. We got a house over our head. The newest toy, whatever. We just wanted it because we assumed that we deserved it. Right. So there really wasn't a whole lot of giving and receiving growing up. And it's just interesting as we get older, looking back through a different lens, you start seeing that. And it's wow. Now that I'm older and seeing the importance of gratitude, I think there was never any gratitude because we never thought there should be some, because it should be just give and take. There was no give and openly receive.
Which is interesting because, I think in our parents' generation, they don't say thank you, but they also don't expect you to say thank you to them because they're expecting that that's what they should do. Right. But I think that's changed. Like every day nowadays that the family dynamics has changed. So nowadays, I think people do recognize gratitude a little more than before.
Well, exactly. And it is so funny that you talk about thank you. Like, my parents, my brother, like my oldest brother, couldn't speak English, but they know the basics. They know thank you and stuff like that. And It was weird because like these times that I've been seeing Sam, which is my older brother getting the kidney transplant, every time I was going every morning, talking to doctors, translating everything. I was there for about half an hour to 45 minutes. And on my way out, he actually says, thank you, like in English. And, it's like the first time I heard it, it sort of caught me off guard. But like, there was actually gratitude there. It wasn't that he was expecting it. It's like he finally understood that I was up there out of love to take care of him. And, it wasn't because I had to, it's because I wanted to. And, and the funny thing is, you know, people know me, my family's got, we're from a village, we're always yelling, and yelling is my normal voice. I talk loud. And my mom and brother, they're always at each other's throats. And every night, even though my brother's the one in the hospital and I'm at home, my mom, he calls and asks how she's doing. And then I'm asking my mom, look, Sam loves you, and you guys are always arguing. And then he says, get Andy on the phone, and then he'll say thank me for taking care of my mom. So it's like this week, it's like there's this whole inverse, like a bizarre world of them actually getting gratitude and starting to see what we mean to each other, what we put on the table for each other, and not just me, but even for them, right? The dynamics. And I honestly hope that that's going to continue, where they see that they care for each other, but they've never said it. And now that when they're afraid that this might be it, they're saying it. And I tell you, it's like, for all the people out there, don't wait to say it, because it's so important, because they may never know.
Sometimes it takes a huge setback to realize what you're missing and to actually get you on the right path. And I think that's what's happening, right?
Oh, exactly. And the thing that was really messed up, and like my dad had Parkinson's, and he suffered Parkinson's for probably 25 years. And in his last 10 years, he was confined to a senior assisted facility. And my mom visited him every day, right? And once again, they were arguing all their life. But in those last 10 years, I've never seen my mom and dad in so much love of each other. With Parkinson's, you don't lose your mental capacity. You remember everything. And the reason I bring that story up is, we're sitting at home, and my mom's saying, when we're going to visit dad. I was like, we're not visiting dad. We're visiting Sam. It's like, it is bringing back those emotions of love. He said, look, there's urgency. We need to check on Sam. I said, look, we'll check on him when we need to, but there's no point checking on him because he needs his rest. But like you said, it's like in these times is when you start realizing these feelings coming up. But like, I tell you, I think people need to say these things more. They need to share it more, because otherwise no one knows. And no one wants to be doing things out of expectation, right? No, there's no appreciation. It's like, it's not like I need to thank you, but sometimes it's nice to feel that they understand why you're doing it, right? Not because you're expected to, because you want to.
So, I mean, a lot of people would eventually at some point go through a health scare of some sort.
Yes.
Yours actually came way earlier than most people, right?
Correct.
You want to talk
So
about that?
a lot of people don't really know my story. They see me, I'm always jumping around, I'm always laughing and everything. And I was the jackass in high school. I was the school clown among my friends growing up. But in grade 12, I had a really bad car accident, and a lot of people didn't actually see what the car looked like. But I got T-boned by a 1-ton truck going through a traffic light. Like, basically, when people ask what's a 1-ton truck, I said, imagine a U-Haul, and then imagine a U-Haul hitting your driver's side and pushing you into a lamppost. So that's what happened on my graduating year of grade 12. And from that accident, it fractured, some bones in my neck. It bent my back. It caused quite a few internal injuries. But because it happened early, in my mind, I thought we can spring back. And it's interesting because, in retrospect, I probably would have done things very differently knowing what I know now. But still remember very vividly when I was 21, like a couple years after my accident and, seeing the specialist. And he said, well, no, your body is going to continue to decline. And by time you're 30, you're going to have a body of a 70-year-old. And during that time, I was thinking, well, what does that even mean? And I think there's probably a lot of the viewers out there could probably relate to what I'm talking about, because sure enough, by the time I was 30, my body was aching so bad, sitting, standing, eating things. It was like I I literally was feeling like an 80-year-old, 70-year-old, but like I was holding it all in because that's the way we're brought up, is don't show pain. And to this day, I bet you like most of my family and friends didn't understand the pain I was in. Only you did, because of course you weathered the storm with me. And I think it's so important, that we bring this up, because your pain isn't your own, and your pain affects everyone around you too, right? So I can see how my pain, my life, my deteriorating life, because by the time I hit 40, it was getting pretty bad, was affecting your life, Minna. It's like, I'm asking all the specialists. By that time, I'm taking major prescription pain medication just to get out of bed, and I can sit and stand for more than 10 minutes without being in a lot of pain. And I was asking the doctor, so, when are we going to get a hand on this, right? Because it just seems to be getting worse in the last 15, 20 years. And they said, well, Andy, it's not going to get better. It's only going to get worse. And that's when my light switch turned on. Like you said, for everyone, there's that point in their life that something has to change. And that's when I changed from loving fast cars and everything, anything to do with speed and adrenaline, into healing your body, which started healing my own. And then after I figured that out, I was like, well, I can't keep this to myself. I need to start sharing this with the world and continue to learn, because there's so many different ways to continuously heal our body.
So what did you do when you start deciding that you have to take health in your own hands?
I think the first thing, well, what do you mean? First of all, like, what did I do to start getting better, or
How did you
mindset?
get started?
Yeah, I got started by taking nutritional supplementation, vitamins, it would be the best way to say it. And it's funny because I was taking vitamins right through my 20s, right to my 30s. And I was taking vitamins that Sylvester Stallone was endorsing. I'm not going to say which brand, but I figured back in the day, if Rocky can take it, it must be good for you. And, it's so interesting because in the supplement world, there were no regulations. And I just realized I was just basically uh, literally pissing it out. It's like I was just basically, I don't even know I should be saying that on TV, but I was urinating it out. And it was just very expensive vitamins that my body wasn't absorbing. And that's why I wasn't seeing results. And it wasn't until, some young kid showed me about it. I call my little brother. And he said, no, they're all different, and you have to try this. And that's where it started. It started with simple supplementations. And it was because my body was lacking certain things, right? And as soon as I started getting those vitamins and minerals back, the body just started to heal itself.
So let's talk about. I want to talk about vitamins, but let's talk about why some vitamins work and why some doesn't. Because
Yeah,
what happens to you is, like, a lot of people that's right. They go to Costco or Walmart or something. They buy vitamins in big bottles and they line it all up, and they took it for years and years and not doing. It doesn't do anything for them. And then there's, on the other spectrum, the medical doctors will prescribe you something like medical drugs.
Yep.
that will work right away, but it doesn't actually fix you. So I think there's a balance that you need to talk about. Finding the right thing for your body, which may be medication, may be vitamins, but how do you know what's going to work for you?
Well, first of all, when we talk about medication, medication is there to mask symptoms, right? As a functional practitioner, I'm always looking at root problems. And when I say root problems, is like what caused diabetes, for instance, right? Your blood sugar didn't just automatically go up. There's certain things that you done upstream that cause downstream your blood sugar to go up, right? And for when you're taking medication, like for high blood pressure or lower your blood sugar or whatever, the medication is just masking the symptoms. So it's like if you have high blood sugar, it's going to lower your blood sugar. It's not fixing the problem that's causing your blood sugar, but it's lowering it down. So that's the first thing what people need to understand. Medication was never designed to cure you. All right, first of all, never designed to cure you. Remember, doctors are there to support your health. They're not there to cure you. But now coming on to supplements, and this is something, it was the hard truth. Supplements have no regulations. And when people hear that, what does that mean? What that means is what you see on the bottle may not be inside the bottle. And that is sort of scary because basically they'll say, oh, well, the funniest things now, like I see them, they think they're all geniuses. They're reading all these ingredients and stuff on the bottle. I was like, well, that's great if they're transparent and put everything in the bottle, right? But depending on where these vitamins and minerals are coming from, for instance, there are certain brands that say straight from the fruit source, straight from the vegetable source. Great. But what are those fruits and vegetables exposed to, for instance, right? So just say if you're getting some vitamins that's coming from apples, well, guess what? Depending where those apples are known to be high in arsenic. So therefore now you got arsenic in your vitamins, but if you look at the label, I'm sure arsenic is not one of the ingredients, right? So that's why when it comes to supplementation, it's very important to find those that are, designed under GMP, good manufacturing practices. They have all these different certifications because you really do want to know when you're taking vitamin C, are you taking vitamin C or are you taking vitamin C with a side of lead and arsenic?
All right, so we're gonna take a break right here and we'll come back and talk more about that.
Imagine a life where every day is fueled by energy, vitality, and purpose. Where age is just a number and your best years are always ahead. Hi, I'm Andy Nam, certified functional nutrition longevity coach, best-selling author, and international speaker. After reversing my own chronic health struggles, I'm now on a mission to help you live longer, stronger, and of course to look younger. I combine biohacking, cutting-edge nutrition, and stem cell technology to unlock your body's full potential. So no matter where your starting point is, I'm going to guide you toward a chronically healthy life. Ready to reverse aging and take control of your future? Connect with me today. Your journey to longevity starts here.
A life empowered is closer than you think. We're all looking for a better way. Reimagine what's next with a new sense of exuberance. Why not power on like you mean it? Or power off blissfully? A better sleep is a better awake. You've never moved like this before. With the energy nature intended. Imagine reprogramming the way you look at the speed of science. At longevity. At exhilaration. It's next level rejuvenation. Take control of your well-being from the inside out and outside in. The light within is ready to ignite. Be the light. LifeWave.
Are you ready to finally unlock your biggest dreams and live the life you've always wanted? I'm Candice McKim, and I invite you to join me in the manifestation magic process. Whether you're dreaming of that perfect business, financial freedom, or more joy in your life, it's all possible. With manifestation magic, you'll shatter common misconceptions that keep holding you back, learn the secrets of attracting your deepest desires, and activate the magic of sacred synchronicity. Head to CandiceMcKim.com and start creating the life of your dreams today.
Welcome back to Chronic Health Collective. So, Andy, why don't you tell our audience about you as a biohacker and you as a nutritional coach and longevity coach? What makes you better than all the other guys out there?
Well, I don't want to say I'm better than all the other guys out there, because like everyone is different. I'd like to say that as a biohacker, I am curious. I'm always curious. There's so much information out there, on TikTok, YouTube, on X, right? And there's, you need to drink this to do that. You need to do this exercise to do this, and so on and so forth. And it's interesting because if you look at the studies and you're studying the centurions, they don't need to do all this fancy stuff, right? They're hanging out with their friends. Some of them are still smoking and drinking, and they're living to 100, right? So to me, there for each of us, there are certain things that we need to do to improve our longevity, right? So some things may make you look healthier, maybe more muscles or more slim, whatever. But that doesn't necessarily mean that's going to help you live longer, right? So as a biohacker, everything that I talk about, everything that I recommend to people is we always do it ourselves first, right? It's not just me. I'm glad that you're my partner in everything. And hey, we can try this, right? So, well, seriously, I said, why not? Let's see where it goes. And we track everything, right? We track everything. We got Aura rings, we got Apple watches, we got smart scales, we measure our blood pressure, we measure our ketones, we measure our blood sugar, we get blood labs taken once every 6 months. Just more so than any doctor probably does for themselves, right? So, I think for me, when you're saying what makes me different is I talk the talk and I walk the walk, right? So everything that I talk about and share and all the studies that I see and study, it is showing this helps with longevity. And then, of course, I try it, right? And I think that's where the difference is. A lot of people will regurgitate certain things, but they may not be doing it, or they may not be showing the results. There's a company out there, I think it's called Novos, right? And they actually have a picture scanner that scans your face. Remember, I told you to check it out, Minna? And a lot of people will say, well, Asians always look a little younger and stuff like that. Minna, why don't you tell them what your assessment showed to be?
I don't remember. I thought it was 34 or 36.
Exactly. And how old are you?
I'm 54.
Exactly. Right. And this company is a longevity company. And of course, the scanner's supposed to work to show you much older than you look. So you buy the products, right? So once again, it was interesting. I said, hey, Minna, you have to check it out. Let's download the app, take the picture, and let's send it in. And, she's looking 20 years younger than she is. So obviously what we're doing is right on the outside and the inside. For me, mine wasn't as good as hers. I think it showed mine to be 48. So, okay, boo, that sucks. But, for me, I'm measuring more metrics about, energy. We did CT scans and measure inside our bodies and stuff like that. We're talking about telomeres. We're talking about fitness tests. And for all those, I excel. I'm easy 20 years younger in all those aspects, right? So like a lot of people, when we talk about longevity, it's about extending your health to where you are, slowing it down, and then carrying it over for the next 20, 30, 40, 50 years, right? And I think that's where the difference is, because a lot of people say, well, I can teach you how to work out to be stronger. I can teach you how to look skinnier. But are you actually teaching me to live longer? That's the thing. And I think a lot of people miss that between what a longevity expert is as opposed to a personal trainer or a nutritionist.
I think one of the points for us is, we're 54, and how many people over 50 that is not on any kind of medication, that has no health
Exactly.
problems whatsoever.
Exactly.
Other than us, I don't think I know anybody like us.
Well, and remember, I was on a lot of medication in my 30s. So I was winning that race. I was beating all my friends. None of my friends were on medication in the 30s. And now I can safely say probably all my friends are on some type of medication, regardless if it's for blood pressure, cholesterol, diabetes or whatnot, right? But like you said, everyone that we know, not even in the 50s, in the 40s, they're already on medication.
Yeah, and how does that? Mm, they always say because they're getting old, right? And how is longevity different than being old or not getting old?
That's a great question. Because I'm telling people, hey, me and Mina, we're planning to live to 150 and beyond. And right away, there's, oh, so you can be like crapping in your bed and relying on someone to push yourself in your wheelchair. And I said, no, I'll be pushing your wheelchair while you're crapping your bed. I'm not going to be one doing that. That's where people don't understand. Being old and longevity is two different things, right? We can grow old and still be fit as we are right now. So, like I said, I'm probably fitter now with all my metrics than I ever was in my 20s and 30s, right? So, RFK is a great example. I love that guy. Not getting political, but oh my God, I just saw recently on X, like he's training with a personal trainer, and RFK's old, dude. Like he's old, and he's doing pull-ups like the like most 20-year-olds can't even do pull-ups, and he was doing pull-ups. So he is great example of longevity, because we're not quite that old yet. We're not in our 70s, right? So I can't brag about that. But that's what I mean about longevity is having the ability to enjoy life. You still have to have your mental capacity. So it's very important what you're putting into your body. It's not just about exercising. It's really about your diet. And for those that want to figure that out, reach out to me. And it may not be what you think. A lot of things that the medical community is telling you to do is actually destroying your brain. It's causing all these symptoms, early dementia and stuff like that. And when you're taking all this medication, it's even speeding up the process.
So if it's an interesting one. If if an audience want to start taking care of their health, where do you suggest they start?
I think that's the easiest one to start, to be honest. Like there's three things I would say. First one is drink enough water. I honestly think that people aren't drinking enough water. And most people say, oh, I'm never thirsty throughout the day, so I don't need to drink water. Well, by the time you're thirsty, you're already dehydrated. So that's a simple thing to do. The next one would be sleep, because everyone I talk to says I can get by with 4 to 6 hours of sleep. And that's just not the case. Like there's studies at 6 hours that you have the mental capacity of being drunk, right? I remember me and you were studying that. So imagine you saying 6 hours and you have the mental capacity of being drunk, and now you're saying you're productive, you run your own company, or worse, you run a big company. Well, dude, you're running the company while you're drunk, right? So these are two things that are very critical. But the third one is, I would say, stop lifting too heavy of weights unless you're young or you want to compete and stuff like that, because heavy weightlifting is causing problems. Movement's important, but how your exercise is more important if you want longevity.
I think there's one more thing you can do, and um, we've done this before, and I know you just did that to your mom. Is that you went through her pantry and you threw away that stuff?
Oh, yes. And I think that's important. It's definitely easier when I come in and do it. And it's funny because I'll do that for my clients. I go in there and say, you can't have this, you can't have this, you can't have this. And most of them won't let me throw it away. They say, we'll throw it away later, we'll finish it. And I was saying, well, what's the point of finishing it if you know it's crap for you? But no, it's true. If you are looking to do a change, you need to make that decision to do it today and start today. So if you're saying, if I go, if you know that these foods are not good for you, or this exercise is not good for you, you stop doing it. You don't continue doing it. You stop eating this food. Like if it's unopened, don't eat it. If it's open, then just throw it away, because it's hurting your body, not just now, but into the future. So I totally agree. I think the stuff that you have in your pantry is very important. And the pantry and refrigerator tells me a lot on how people's diet is, no matter what they say they eat.
So, one last question. If you are a superhero, what would it be?
If I was a superhero, what would it be? That's an easy one. I would be Wolverine, or maybe even Deadpool now, right? Because technically, or maybe even Deadpool, technically you can't die, and I don't want to live forever. Don't get me wrong. But the healing factor is definitely a plus, right? Because the human body is, we're amazing supercomputers, and we have this amazing ability to regenerate. And it's really funny. I actually did a quick Reels or YouTube video telling you, hey, heal like Wolverine. And if you guys want to figure it out, I'll show you guys how to do it. But, I think that's important. It's sort of like my brother after getting the surgery. You want your body to heal, right? We want those abilities to heal. You cut your finger, you want it to heal faster. You skin your knee, you want to heal faster. But when you start having these chronic conditions, not only are you want to cut back on the things that's causing it, but you want to get your body to heal faster. So Wolverine for sure, that healing ability, you just can't beat that.
Okay. Do you have any last inspirations for the viewers?
Yeah, I think the last inspiration is it's life is really about giving and receiving. It's not about taking and expecting. And it's the same when it comes down to your health. You have to take care of what God gave us as we're born, because we're all born healthy. And knowing what we know now, or people's going to learn more as the new year comes out, there are a lot of things that's causing us to be unhealthy. And we need to take those steps ourselves to make ourselves healthy and not depend on medical professionals to make us healthy.
So why don't you tell the audience how they can get hold of you and what you can do for them?
Yes. So along the bottom there, there's my website. You got my email, and on that little QR code down on the bottom there, you can scan that, and it goes to my county. I offer a free 30-minute consult to talk about your health goals and if we can work together. Because that's the main thing when I'm working with people. You want to have to change. There's no quick fixes, and that's not what I'm interested in. I'm interested in helping you transform your body and transform your life.
Perfect. I think this episode helps the audience know you a little bit better. And next week, we're going to have Erin Lay with us. She'll join us back here every Tuesday at 7 p.m. CST. You can watch past episodes at watch.e360tv.com. We're in the Vitality TV network. And we also on YouTube channel at Chronic Health Collective. And if you'd like to know more about Chronic Health Collective, visit us on our website at chronichealthcollective.com. We'll see you next week.
See you next week. Bye now.